the link of in and YouTube. Hello, everybody on the LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube world. Hey, Instagram. Hey, everybody. And so first off, happy holidays. I hope everybody is having a wonderful week. Hello, Azada. Good seeing you. So today we're talking about on our Inspired Insights Live, of course, a little festive, talking about that inner critic that we all have and whether it is naughty or nice. Now, the inner critic is something, this is an interesting thing to talk about because your inner critic can play a good role, but it also can play a bad role. Think of it as sitting on one side of each shoulders, the one shoulder, the one thing that's saying, hey, like the good angel, and then, the one with the horns. So, this is something that I also struggle with because I'm very critical of myself and I'm very self-aware. And one of the things I really care about is how my actions impact others, and also how I can be better. So the inner critic is something that really comes into play with all of this because, I had, and this is the reason I wanted to talk about this because, I have those moments where my inner critic comes in and, I think about what I could have done better. And it's not just thinking about what you could have done better, that thinking about what you could have done better then becomes like a repetitive pattern, because this is just how our mind works. Our mind repeats things on loop. That's just how we're designed. And the thing about the inner critic is, it helps propel you to be better, but then you have to be able to acknowledge the insight and then move on from it. So one of the things that helps me, and there are several things that help me, one of the things that helps me is I say to myself, okay, what can I learn from this? And how can I do better tomorrow? Because I can't go back into the past. And even though it's not going to stop me from thinking about it, because let's keep it real, like that's just how we are. We just got to try and do better every single time. But just ask yourself, how can I do better tomorrow? I can just do better tomorrow. What can I do moving forward? Because then, when we are presented with a similar moment in the future, we'll remember that in the past. The next thing that really helps me, and this is something that I've been working through myself, is the practice of mindfulness. Now, this is not something that's super easy, and that's why I have help, and it's being mindful of being aware of the thoughts that we're having. And one of the tips that I've been working through recently is becoming very aware of your breath, and then understanding that they're just thoughts, but not believing the thoughts. We think that what we think is the truth. And that kind of gets us on this downward spiral and can take us to very bad places. And when we believe that our thoughts to be true, we're not allowing ourselves to see other opportunities. So one of the great things about being about witnessing your thoughts and realizing that they're not the ultimate truth is the ability to detach. Now, our minds are so extremely powerful, and we have talked about this, and this is probably not the happiest thing to talk about, especially during the holidays, but it's true, because our minds can take us to very, very dark places. And I've had my own experiences, just like you and and people that we have places where our inner critic can take us to really dark places, and where you could really be at the bottom and need to pick yourself up and get there, really because your thoughts have gotten you to a place where you feel like all hope is lost, or you feel like you can't do what you want to do, or whatever. Maybe, I've had those moments where I thought, what's the point of continuing? We all have those moments. And the inner critic definitely comes to play in that, and realizing that, get up again. You can do it better tomorrow. You can do better in this next moment. And hey, it's going to happen to all of us. Like, I have those moments every single day. I have them all the time where I just think about something that I did. And, the funny thing is you attach to the things that were negative, often you attach to the things that were negative, opposed to thinking about, hey, what did I do great in this situation? And you think about what you could have done better, and you only hang on to that part where you're being critical of yourself. And then, a lot of the time we're so egocentric that we think it's all about us. And then sometimes, like, if you really think about it, what you're obsessing over didn't really affect anybody else but you. So this holiday season, like enjoy yourself, whatever. That's what we're supposed to do every day, actually, because life is meant to be fun. But really, when your inner critic comes up, allow yourself to be loving with yourself. Allow yourself to go into get curious about what is coming up for you when you feel those thoughts rising again. We all can do better every single day. This is not to say your inner critic is bad. It has a good place. It pushes you to be better. But when your inner critic is pushing you to a point of obsession and of really just berating yourself about how you're not worthy or what you did wrong or whatever, how is that going to propel you forward? Whereas if you really allow yourself to get curious about, okay, in that moment, I wasn't my best self. What could I have done better? How did I react? And get curious about what we do in those moments when we're reflecting back so that we can understand our patterns within ourselves that are unconscious. Because I will say a lot of the time, it just depends on the situation, but a lot of the time, some things that I tend to feel bad about are things that like were spur of the moment and were just knee-jerk reactions. And then I think to myself later on, I'm like, oh man, I could have handled it better. Of course I could have handled it better, but how was I programmed to act that way? How can I learn to act differently, but also not continue to go on this loop and this journey of berating yourself? Because the inner critic, like I said, is good for you, but also you don't have to believe everything your inner critic says is true, and you deserve to be happy. This life is meant to be fun, and life is a learning and growing, and every day is meant to be an adventure. So allow yourself to grow, give yourself the grace to grow. And with that, I want to wish everyone a beautiful holiday season, no matter what you celebrate. If you don't celebrate, I hope you celebrate life regardless. It is a beautiful life. It is amazing to be alive, to be able to share my insights with you. And I hope that you have, I hope that you've gotten something great out of this, and that I hope that I'm able to touch your heart from mine. And I'm sending every single one of you out there much love, much light, and all the best to you from now and beyond. And I look forward to hearing from you about your insights on this and in the future. Take care, everybody.